The OCD tip number 11 is to have feelings. Essentially, the tip is to feel things. And that can seem like a strange thing to suggest, because if you're struggling with OCD, struggling with any anxiety disorder, you're probably thinking, I'm feeling too much and I want that to stop. But that exactly is the problem, and that's why tip number 11 is to learn how to feel things. The Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh has a great quote where he says, if you learn to suffer, you suffer much less. And I think that really captures the paradox of OCD recovery, where for years, I know for me personally, I just for years put so much energy in trying not to feel certain things and trying to be certain and trying to get rid of particular memories and trying to control the future and control other people, and really built my life around doing that, and it just caused me to experience more anxiety and more uncertainty, and I had to devote more and more time to try not to suffer. But that only led to me suffering 24/7, all day, every day. Learning how to experience anxiety and learning how to experience uncertainty and learning how to experience pain and learning how to accept all sorts of different things I thought I had to get rid of has actually led to experiencing those much less. You've probably tried to get rid of lots of thoughts that you really dislike and lots of feelings that you don't want to feel, and that's probably only led to you experiencing those more. That is totally normal. That's what an anxiety disorder is all about. It's trying to get rid of things and then ending up having those things happen all of the time, and it's really unpleasant. So a big component of learning to get over that is learning how to accept these feelings into our lives and experience them and not try to get rid of them, because the moment we stop trying to get rid of them and just learn how to feel them, they just become part of our everyday lives, and then paradoxically, we actually start to experience them much less. There's a common misperception that people who are happy don't experience unpleasant feelings, or that people who are brave don't experience fear, or that, say, a monk doesn't experience all sorts of different feelings, that they're just on some enlightened plane and they just meditate all day, and these feelings, they just don't happen because they're above that, they're enlightened. And that's just not the case. This misconception is very widespread. So you'll get people doing things like going to a meditation class and saying, oh, like, what's a good meditation so I can get rid of depression? Or what's a good meditation to help me get over grief? Or what's a good meditation so I don't get anxious all the time? Being mindful isn't about avoiding feelings. It's actually about experiencing feelings and not having to judge them and not having to react to them. And being able to experience them and then just engage in the healthy actions that are going to help you get towards your goals. There's an ancient Buddhist story about this that I really like, and you can find it in this video right here, right there, and link down below. Feelings happen. They're like gravity. They will happen to you. They are going to keep happening. And if it is your goal in life to fight anxiety and not experience anxiety, I guarantee that is a goal you will be able to try to achieve for the rest of your life, because anxiety will always be there. It's always going to be around. It's always going to happen. And if you really want it to go away and never experience it, you will never be successful at it, but you will always be able to keep trying to do that. So my recommendation, if you're serious about getting over an anxiety disorder, is to learn how to feel anxiety. So how do you do that? I have three tips. The first tip is to be aware. So be aware of how you're reacting to feelings. And what I would suggest is that you actually start to look at feelings you think of as positive and how you react to all of those feelings. Because the feelings you might have labeled as negative, that might be too intense to do at the start. So start with positive feelings, because guarantee there's things you're doing as a reaction to those too that are really unhealthy and part of the OCD. So it's not just about negative feelings. So an example, I did this all the time, you'll see people doing this all the time, where we like something. We feel this great feeling about it, we're attracted to it, we like it, but then we start, the brain kicks in, the OCD, we're worrying about all sorts of things, all sorts of uncertainties pop up. So we're thinking, I really like this person. Oh, but what if they don't like me back, so I don't really want to express that I like them, and then, I don't actually know, I just met them, so I don't know that much about them. There might be other things that, if I learn, I'm not going to like them. And then two, I just came into this, it's the start of the school year, I just met this person, but there's like 300 other people in my class. What if I'm going to like one of them more? And, and two, I don't want to seem like I'm just like, going way over the top and just being, you know, that weird person. So I, you know, I like this, but I am not going to do anything about it. I'm going to do all sorts of things and control my behaviors to kind of cover up that feeling and try and make it go away until I can be certain about whether this feeling is the right thing to do. So all of that stuff after that feeling, kind of unnecessary, only going to cause more problems, only creates more things to control, only creates more uncertainties. So start to be aware of how you're experiencing feelings and what that triggers. Because it doesn't have to be about having this obsessive assembly line of controlling behaviors every time you feel something. You can feel something and feel it. Identifying all those behaviors that you have in response to a feeling to try to control it and try to be certain about it is going to help you identify all sorts of things that you can start to peel back, behaviors that maybe aren't helping you get to where you want to be going in life. So they're likely behaviors you're pumping a lot of energy into that you can get rid of. So the second tip is about feeling things. And that's about putting yourself into situations where you're going to feel something. Often that's going to be anxiety, and you just learn to accept that and experience it. And instead of trying to make that feeling go away, just be aware of it. It's in your body. You know, your heart's racing, you're sweating, your mind is racing. That's okay. You can have that experience. It's okay to experience that. You don't have to try and make it go away, because if you actually don't like it, the more you try to make it go away, the more you're going to experience it. So always keep that in mind. The reason we're doing this is so that we actually experience it much less. If you react to it and try to make it go away, it's going to happen all the time. So if you're serious about this, you've got to learn to experience it. Like with anything, when we're doing exposure and response prevention, it's about starting small and then working your way up. So probably the things that are causing you the most unpleasant feelings, don't start there. Like I said, start with things actually where you see you have unhealthy behaviors around positive feelings. And then start to work your way into the unpleasant feelings gradually as you build up the strength to feel more, because feeling things is really a skill. You're going to find, I know a big step for me was almost relearning all of my emotions that for years, because I had spent so much time trying to control them and judging them and trying to get rid of them, that I actually didn't know what I was feeling. I would just, that's an unpleasant feeling, and then try to get rid of it. So I didn't know very much about my feelings. You're going to go through an experience of really relearning what you think you feel. And the third tip is about stuff that we do up here to interpret the world around us. And so it's really about judging. As much as I'm saying, hey, feel things, there's another component to this that we'll have to cover in a different video, because it's such a massive thing, and that's judgments. And the role our judgments play in the unpleasant things we experience. So, for example, if I walked out every single day and I looked up in the sky and I saw a cloud and I was like, oh, I hate clouds in the sky. Every time there's a cloud in the sky, it's a bad day. That makes me miserable. Now I'm really angry at the sky. That's my responsibility, right? It's my judgments that have made me feel really angry, made me feel really upset, feel betrayed by the sky again. That's my responsibility. And so there's another component that's going to go on in this. Not only are we relearning what our emotions are all about, but we're also going to be looking at how our judgments play a role in what we're feeling. Because often we might feel something totally different if it wasn't for the beliefs and the assumptions with which we're approaching the world. So the third tip here is to understand the role your judgments play in your feelings, because those judgments are things you control. You may not have chosen to learn them in the first place. They were probably shoved on you. But now that you're aware of the problems they're causing in your life, you can start to dismantle them and really question whether or not those judgments and those beliefs are helping you get to where you want to be going and helping you experience the things you want to be experiencing. So start to be aware of all the unhealthy checking and coping and controlling behaviors that feelings are triggering in you. Feel things, right? Just feel them, be mindful of them, and start to be aware of how your judgments play a role in the things you feel. And really start to question whether those judgments are beneficial to you or they're setting up roadblocks that are messing up your life. And then just get out there and feel things. Be mindful of the feeling you're having. You don't have to get rid of it. You don't have to make it go away. It doesn't have to affect the healthy actions you're going to engage in. If you feel sad, that's great. Feel sad. If you feel happy, that's great. Feel happy. You feel anxious, that's great. It's amazing that you can feel things. Feel what that is like in your body. Right? You feel calm? That's great. Feel calm. You feel afraid? That's great too. Feel afraid. Do the things that you know are going to help you get to where you want to go in your life. Learn how to feel things, and it is absolutely amazing how that is going to help you overcome many different mental health challenges in your life. Feel things, feel them completely.